Well, hi everybody, it's the Week in the Tackle podcast, the podcast where we occasionally get together and talk about things in the world of football that we thought were interesting. I'm Tom Rennie, alongside me is Mauricio Pochettino fanboy, star of your TVs. It's only Brian Dunny Dunseth. Welcome back, Dunny. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Rennie. Another positive experience with the U.S. men's national team down against Ecuador in Austin, Texas, and then up in Denver, Colorado against Australia. And two teams that I think were on 11 games unbeaten streak, two teams that didn't necessarily want too much of the ball, two teams that sit deeper in a low block and then want to hit in transition moments. And again, a U.S. men's national team that's got to stop this propensity for giving up early goals or at least conceding the first goal. But I like the response and I like the system. I like some of the players. And I feel like I've got a better handle after this window about what the idea theoretically looks like as we start tightening the screws and thinking about this World Cup roster in like 200 and I think like 36, 37 days, which isn't a lot of time with now Paraguay in Philadelphia in November, Uruguay in Tampa a couple days later, thinking about a March window that'll have two games and then ultimately two more games before the roster is solidified heading into the World Cup next summer. So 6 games. My math isn't great from Cal State Fullerton, but not a lot of time for Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff to be that much more impressed by certain players that feel as though they're worthy of an opportunity to make this roster.
I've got a question for you from your week away with the US men. Before we do that, though, it's only a shortened podcast today because Dunny's been away and I've been, laying down, frankly. So we couldn't record earlier in the week. But we are going to do a full podcast on, Monday, probably before I go off to West Ham Brentford because I don't want to be, depressed for the show. So we're hoping to record on Monday. That'll be a full show. It's a kind of shorter show. But if you are with us, make sure you're subscribing on Apple and Spotify. So you listen on Apple, go to Spotify. If you're on Spotify, go to Apple. Give us 5-star reviews. If you can write a review, we always appreciate it. If you can tell one friend in real life about the show, we always appreciate that as well. And if you don't want to listen and you want to see us, you can subscribe on YouTube. Find Week in the Tackle, subscribe right now, and you can watch this show and our history of shows in full as well. And by Monday, there's a possibility we might make Tim do even more production on the program, which would mean some production as opposed to just cutting out swear words. We've got to make him... We're doing heavy lifting here, me and Danny. Do you know what I mean? It's about time Horsey... We're a trio, right? We're a team. So he's got to contribute, okay? My muscles are very, very sore. So how was the week? I mean, your burgeoning friendship with Mauricio Pochettino is like a subplot of this entire podcast series.
Yeah.
How was he? How many times did you get to speak to him? And are you bros now?
I don't know. I wouldn't say we're bros, but he, I think where he's very intelligent with the way that he, how do I say this correctly? Kind of creates relationships with people. He will acknowledge virtually everybody that's in the room. Even at training session, he'll go and he'll shake all the media members' hands. There's a certain connectivity. He's got that little bit of something, however you try to describe that. But there was a new level to our friendship this weekend. I'll call it friendship, but it's not friendship. But
no, it's quite friendship. It's fine. He doesn't listen.
So something happened. I probably crossed the line.
Here we go. Hotel room, midnight.
It was in one of the lobby areas in our meeting rooms, and we were getting ready for the Australia game, and everyone was kind of departing, and he was, hey, do you guys want a matcha? Do you want a coffee? Downstairs, second floor. He had more meetings that he was going, and everyone kind of dispersed, and Luke Wildman and I, my play-by-play, he and I did FIFA Club World Cup, final, all that stuff. Luke's great. Sheffield United fan, unfortunately, up in Toronto.
Don't eat a ham sandwich in front of him. Chris Wilder will be furious.
Furious. Congratulations on the return of Chris Wilder, by the way.
Yes. 17th time. Welcome back.
So, Rennie, let me set the scene. Everyone leaves. It's just Luke and I. We're talking about Under-20 World Cup. We're talking about U.S.-Morocco game. I bring up the fact that I would prefer to see the U.S. play more CONMEBOL opponents, Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay. I just think I feel like our U.S., we're so familiar to European football that I feel like sometimes we miss the nuance of Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana, teams kids that grow up in the rough and tumble, There's like a machismo. There's like a machoism that happens, a mano v mano thing. That there's a manipulation within the game. And I think when you watch CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying, there's always that like gray area of like manipulating the referee, kicking, pulling, tugging, agitating, being aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer of like I would love to see all of these young US soccer kids from like 15 to 23 with their $300 cleats and their shiny white US soccer sweatshirts going down and playing in Honduras or going to El Salvador or going to Panama or going to Costa Rica.
Getting some dirt under the fingernails. That
Yeah,
sort of
like
thing.
like a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah, like a me versus you and understanding like how these teams view the United States and view us as players because I grew up in Southern California and sometimes I was one of the only Caucasian players and like you would learn very quickly like you had to protect yourself, you had to learn how to like manipulate and coerce and like I liked physical battles, like I wanted to get in there. So we're talking about all this and all of a sudden I find myself in the midst of like showing like, oh, you gotta get in there, and I like grab Pochettino and I'm like I've given the thumb to the kidney like I did
Oh.
to you all the time, like I did
Oh.
it. And Luke looks at me like, what the are you doing? Sorry, Tim. And I'm like, yeah, it's totally cool. Like, it's all right, man. And like Pochettino's like, because he's a center back. Captain. He was played in the World Cup with Argentina in
Yeah.
2002. So we were like talking about the dark arts. And I told him like my theory of Dunsethery and all this stuff. So in all of this, we walk away and Luke just goes, because I do it to Luke all the time. I give him the thumb and the ribs every once in
Yeah.
a while. And he goes, "It's a love. It's a love thing. If I like you, if I love you, I will have thumbed you at some point in the ribs or the kidneys." So Luke goes, we get in the elevator. He goes, "I can't believe he thumbed Pochettino." And I look at him and I go, "Over the line?" And he goes, "Probably." And I go, I'll stew on it for a little bit. And then we went right in. We got out of the elevator and we were meeting with Haji Wright. So it just like totally dispersed. And it wasn't until later that night where we were at dinner and Luke goes, like, why did you have to do that? And I was like, I don't feel like I had to do it. I probably wanted to do it. I probably don't even have control of when I do it at this point. Um, but I don't think he's like mad at me or anything. And he goes,
So it didn't come up in another meeting. HR didn't call. His
no,
reps
I'm
didn't
good.
call.
I'm good.
Like there
Yeah.
was because he's been in dressing rooms. When you're a dressing room creature, this is the kind of life
You
you're
know.
used to, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you did it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Tim says he'd never been thumbed. I've been thumbed by Dunny. Dunny thumbed when Declan Rice ran out on the field in DC.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was thumbing me liberally, frankly. Too much, if anything. I wish I knew the number for HR. Why have you never given Tim a thumbing? What's that about?
Challenge accepted. I'll see you at the MLS Cup final, Tim. And I certainly will put a thumb in your rib. I'll teach you the dark arts of how
Oh, ribs. Right, okay, that's a different story. Then.
ribs,
That's fine.
thumbs, kidneys. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally one thumb, man. All you
That's
got to
it.
do is you put it in the right place and guys go like this and they know you're there. It's very
tip.
simple. I don't know why people don't know this.
Yeah, just the tip of the thumb. Away from that, Haji Wright, tell us about him. He's been smashing it for Coventry in the
Yeah.
Championship. He's the US #1 striker now under Frank Lampard, England's greatest manager.
He's not the number one. It's Flo Balogun is the number one.
I know
but
that, but you could have indulged me for a second, couldn't
but
you? For
Haji,
goodness sake.
well, because I was
did
critical.
good. He did good.
He did, but I was critical of Haji coming off the bench against Ecuador because there were two moments with his left foot that I wanted him to release the shot. He was looking for a cut ball. He was looking for a pass. He was looking to create just a little bit more space. And I was thinking to myself, these are these like micro moments. I feel like everything is going to be like micro data points for the coaching staff to assess because we have like Flo and Christian and Tyler and Chris Richards. And I feel like we're still looking to see like where does everyone else fit. So I feel like the spine of the team, you have a really good indication of the spine of the team. But I'm also now looking at like data points of like who took what opportunity? Did the guy do enough? Because all of a sudden we've got a really bunched group of players that's like, okay, where does Weston fit? Where does Tim Weah fit? Where does Miles Robinson fit? Where does Tim Ream fit versus Mark McKenzie? If Anthony Robinson is available, he starts, right? Well, if Serginho Dest is available, does he start? Now with going to a 3 in the back system, there's jeopardy, right? So, for example, if Christian Pulisic is healthy, absolute starter, and he's going to play as one of those pocket tens. But now you got Diego Luna, you've got Gio Reyna, You've got Zendejas. You've got Malik Tillman. Now you've got Weston McKennie. That's just that. You've got Brendan Aronson. So that's 7 right there. Tyler Adams, he's going to start if healthy. He's going to start. So then you're thinking Sebastian Berhalter, Christian Roldan, Tanner Tessman, Aiden Morris. Let's see, Yunus Musa. I said Christian Roldan, said Aiden Morris. James Sands, Johnny Cardoso, who hasn't been in the last 2 camps. So like in my mind, I'm like trying to assess. All of a sudden, I can't see a world in which Weston McKennie doesn't start. I can't see a world in which I can see a world in which Tim Weah doesn't start, but I see Tim Weah playing significant minutes. But in what role? Right-hand side, left-hand side. This formation would suggest that maybe Mauricio Pochettino doesn't think that our wingers, like our outright wingers in a 4-back system, is as deep as necessary. Chris Richards and Miles Robinson, for me, were the projected starting center backs heading into Qatar in the 2022 World Cup. So if you're not going to go with Tim Ream, how much do you lose not having a dominant left-footed player building out of the back? There's all these like little like micro moments. I'm trying to like, for example, if you say Matt Freese is the goalkeeper, you say Jedi Robinson is your wingback, you say Mark McKenzie, Miles Robinson, Chris Richards, and Alex Freeman is your back 5. All of a sudden, we got really big, really athletic, very, very physical for set pieces, offensively, defensively. Like, we're a big international team all of a sudden. But does that then mix and match the way that Mauricio Pochettino is looking like? And, like, Diego Luna is very impactful off the bench. And, by the way, I didn't realize the way that, like, the national team fan base looks at Diego Luna, because when he came on, when Christian went off injured, the sound of that stadium was probably the loudest for an individual player that I've heard in a long, long time. I didn't realize, broken nose, big balls, summer run in the Gold Cup. Now how the fan base is kind of looking at Diego Luna and the way that he plays the game so differently than the other guys. I think the fan base is like, I recognize who you are. Like that, how you play is what I want my team to play like. And so all of a sudden there's like a weird connectivity with Luna that I was aware of, but I was unaware of in terms of the size and scope. So those are kind of like the data points. I think Haji, to your original question, 2 great goals, 2 important goals, because now he separates himself from a Josh Sargent, from a Patrick Agiman, from a Ricardo Pepi, from those type of players. So again, I don't think anybody books their spot in a World Cup roster, but I think in these next 6 games, next 4 games, really, guys are going to play themselves out of contention as opposed to guys playing themselves in contention. Because I think that that group of players is so close in terms of ability that I think it's going to be sharpness, taking your chances, and form with the national team that's going to separate a majority of these guys.
Loving positive, Dunny. Loving positive, American soccer fans. That quarterfinal knockout's going to be so good, isn't it? Can we be in the same group? So England are the only nation qualified from Europe. Can we be in the same group, or is there sort of something blocking that?
I hope so. I can't wait for you to come up with your excuses like you do each and every window.
I mean, wouldn't it be excellent, though, if we were in the same group? Wouldn't it be so cool?
Again? Yeah.
Well, when was the last one? 2010? Was that Rob Green one? Was that one?
2022 Qatar. We were in the same group stage. Yes.
We're in the same group for that?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I remember
we outplayed you. You didn't win. We drew.
Did you win? Did you win? I remember 2010.
You didn't either. For the powerhouse that's English football and Premier League, and you guys are the best league in the world, you sure don't do that well on the international stage.
No, same with Christian Pulisic, I guess, which is my next question. Was it worth playing him against Australia? Like, I saw some reports this morning. Is it worth it?
It drives me crazy. Hold on a second. This isn't like Americana 101.
No?
For all the teams that have qualified for the World Cup, for all the players that left AC Milan, how many of those players played in games with jeopardy, which meant it was World Cup qualifying?
There was nothing more pointless than a friendly against Australia for Christian Pulisic.
But all of them. So hold on a second. You're thinking about, Argentina, Pointless then. Ecuador, pointless.
Very, very
Colombia.
important.
Anyway,
Important games.
Korea Republic, Japan, Australia,
Yeah,
Uruguay, all the
but that's
they're
the
all
broader
World Cup
point.
qualified teams.
But that's the broader point on the fact that we should be having an international break in October. Like, it's stupid. It's a really
Well, it
stupid
was our
thing that
last
we do.
one. You know, it was our last one, right?
So
Forever.
next year we get the combined one, don't we? Next time in September.
You
and
get like a
October.
3.5 week window of like
But
later
they're still doing
September
November,
into October. November is still standalone.
which is so like. I've been campaigning for this for so long,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it's my
Now you're
influence
getting it.
that's got this over the line.
Yeah.
But why are they still doing November? And why are they just do all of it together at the start? Once you've taken the 3 weeks, make it 4 weeks. Do all the international qualifiers in one thing, and then we don't have this conversation.
Well, there's Champions League football. What are you talking about? There's fifth round FA Cup that you got to get in, Tom.
Ugh. Is Carabao Cup second round or just. We're so close now. I get it's like they're so close to getting it right. They're so close to having listened to me all these years, but they're just like, oh no, we won't go the full way. They're like, there's 75%.
We won't give her any credit. Yeah.
Let's get to full penetration. Yeah. But what about Christian Pulisic of my idea into the footballing calendar? Come on, bud. It's a dirty word, but used cleanly. Come on, get it together. Grow up.
He came in. He had an ankle irritation. That's why he didn't start. He was protected against Ecuador. It goes to the bigger. Not criticism, concern. I want to see the U.S. tougher. I want to see them react more. Everybody knows that Australia is going to lump you up and down the field. Unbeaten under Tony Popovich. I think they scored 21 goals, conceded 7 in their qualifying campaign. They're going to the World Cup. But if you watch the game against Canada, they beat Canada 1-0. Probably should have given up a penalty early in that match. Didn't have VAR. Jesse Marsh was complaining vociferously. Cal State Fullerton vociferously after the game, after they lost.
Penetration.
Got to tap myself.
Vociferous penetration. Is that the name of the podcast today?
I hope not. Sounds aggressive. But I wanted, when Gary took out Pulisic, it wasn't like an egregious foul, but Pulisic, I thought it was an ankle thing. But it ended up being a hamstring thing. And you think about he was accelerating, trying to get away. It wasn't like a hard tackle. It was more like a clip. He stumbled, goes to ground, and kind of like pirouettes a little bit. And it wasn't his ankle, it was a hammy. Now, listen, the reality is that these guys can get hurt in training sessions that are much less worrisome of accountability standpoint with AC Milan. And coming over here, he had a knock a couple of weeks ago with AC Milan. Mauricio Pochettino wasn't complaining about it. So there's a really, and again, Mauricio and I and his coaching staff, we had this conversation of managing players on international duty while understanding you're trying to get the best out of them. He didn't risk Anthony Robinson whatsoever. He didn't risk Zendejas. He sent him back with Club America when Zendejas picked up a little bit of a niggle. He didn't risk Malik Tillman. So this is a different injury that Christian Pulisic has. I always use Barcelona as maybe the perfect example. Ansu Fati has never been the same. Pedri went through a year of having injury because they rode him for under 23 Olympic, full qualifying campaign for Spain, and virtually every game for Barcelona. Gavi's still out injured for an international window that he didn't have to play because they were already qualified for that respective tournament at that time. And now we're talking about Lamine Yamal getting run out. And for as much as Hansi Flick is saying, hey, De La Fuente, don't play him all those minutes. It's like, hold on, Hansi, you're playing him against Getafe at home when you know you don't. You've just brought in Marcus Rashford and you got Rafinha. So I understand the sensitivity for international windows, but there are no World Cup qualifiers. All of these teams that the United States are playing are already qualified for the World Cup, and they're trying to figure out how to best put together what their group and their roster and their team looks like. So Pulisic said he was good to go. I watched him at training the day before. Everything was fine. This is more of an unfortunate injury as opposed to a wear and tear injury. It's not like he was just sprinting and running and he popped the hammy. This was like he got taken out, spun, and felt something, took himself out immediate. I understand also because Christian Pulisic is the best player for AC Milan and arguably the best player right now in Serie A for the start of the season. So I get the sensitivity, but like there's not a lot of like meaningful international breaks at this point if
Yeah.
you've already qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you're a year out. It's a friendly. He's definitely going to start. He's been there for a long time. It's not like he's been bedded into the US camp. I don't know. My sympathy lays with Milan on this one. But
After the
it would
summer,
be.
though, like after not having him all summer, you got to use him. You got to play him.
Yeah, I guess he probably. I mean, he definitely wanted to play after the grief he got from the summer as well. But anyway, we are what we are. Listen, we haven't got a great deal of
We'll
time.
find out on the next episode of Christian Pulisic on Paramount Plus.
Yes, Pulisic watch. It's a great series. It's continually looking at his hamstrings all day. It's a very intense watch. Nearly out of time, but two other quick bits I just wanted to put to you briefly. Number one, did you see that Graham Potter's going to get the Sweden job?
Yeah. Get
Isn't
him back
that
on
just-
track. He's going to manage at the World Cup.
He is. Well, I don't think they're going to make it. I think they're so bad they're not going to make it. Actually, they've got the
Kosovo,
what is
right?
it? No, they have the backdoor thing because they dropped down to the third tier of the Nations League, and so there's like a backdoor playoff. They may well win, but just I mean, firstly, what a shame for Sweden that he, utter boob that he is going to get the chance to coach
Hater.
Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres, Bergvall, all these brilliant young talents. They're going to be in the hands of this just dunce.
Well, we do know, but what we do know is that now Sweden will be giving up a tremendous amount of goals at the back post on both corners and long throws because they will have 6 guys at the front post and it'll be simple tap-ins at the back door.
Easy. And he's like, there's a load of Dutch geezers at the back post, Swedes. Shall we stop them? No, it's fine. It's only Van Dijk. Leave him there. 1-0, boom, out of the Scandinavian Cup. I don't know what it is. But like just so irritating. That. But my only hope is that there's some sort of like Chelsea-style thing that if he gets a job within 6 months, West Ham can stop paying him. Because I'm still just so angry at how sort of poorly this guy left West Ham in, and we'll see how they get on Monday, but he's awful. But yeah, failing upwards. How does this guy keep failing upwards to this?
Yeah, he was just hanging out.
Nothing good in 5 years at all.
I guess he was just hanging out on one of the islands in one of his little cabins. And they were like, hey, he's in town. Let's go get him. He wants to give back to Swedish football after Swedish football gave him so much.
Yes, and he's given me so little. One final thing before we're out of time, because this will be a bit old by the time we do the proper show next week, recording Monday out on Tuesday. Did you see Postecoglou today?
Oh,
it's so...
Love it.
It's so good. He spoke, someone timed it, for a question for over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He gave a 5-minute just monologue to the press, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope he stays forever. I hope they don't go down, and I hope they don't sack him. I never want him in charge of my team, but I love it. I'll just read some of it because I love the voice.
He re-hit the hits. He regurgitated all the hits. He took all of his best quote of the days and just mashed them into 5 minutes.
He played Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger, all the hits. Sam look at the weeds, but I like to look at what is growing. I'm really excited as I've got a group of young players willing to change. I'm not wasting my time on what other people think. I just don't fit. Not here, just in general. If you look at it through the prism, I'm a failed manager who's lucky to get this job, then of course, this first 5 weeks look like this guy's under pressure. There's an alternative story that you could look at. I took over Tottenham when I was told by the chairman this club need to win a trophy. We've tried Mourinho and Conte and we need something different, but I'm a winner. We finished 5th my first year, yada, 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 yada. But I'm in the Tottenham record books. It goes on and on and on.
No lies detected.
The story always ends the same with me, with a trophy. Like, just, God bless him. God bless him. This is backing yourself. And I, do you know what? I hope it pays off. As long as they finish below us, I don't care.
I listen, I got a soft spot for Ange. I didn't like the fact that don't question mine, Tiger. He might, when he was asked about if he was prioritizing Europa League and winning the trophy over where they were struggling in 17th position in the Premier League. That's where we found out some truth, in the post shine of lifting a trophy. But listen, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? And I think he checks a lot of the boxes that I think are realistic and nuanced talking points. And at the same time, when you haven't won a game in 7 matches at Nottingham Forest, it just maybe doesn't hit the same way you think the hits are hitting. So we'll see what it looks like. Man, I don't know.
It's like he played Wonderwall, but at the Download Festival where they expected some heavy metal, that sort of thing. We will see. Chelsea this weekend. We'll give it a review, if it's interesting, on our Monday recording. That's Brian Dunsteth over there, Pochettino's thumb chum. I'm Tom Rennie. Tim Horsey produced some of the programme. We'll be back recording next week. Subscribe on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week.